My name is Maxime Durand. I'm the franchise historian in Assassin's Creed Origins.
The franchise historian. What does a franchise historian do?
It's a big title. So my job is basically to help the team recreate ancient Egypt in this case. So finding the documentation, books, magazines, and helping the team to craft this amazing world and create the gameplay opportunities. How it starts is that we define the time period that we want to have. We define the locations. So having obviously the pyramids in a game like this one, finding the historic characters, the setting, and then going deeper into what is going to be the game exactly. So what are the kind of weapon that we're going to have, how this is going to impact the gameplay, also how we're going to redefine the gameplay pillars with that. Navigation, so when you go with ancient Egypt, navigation was very important around the Nile, so it was the fastest way and the safest way to travel around because you would avoid hippos and crocodiles, for instance. You could move around stones. So it's all that level of detail that really helps us, inspire us to create a city and a game like ancient Egypt. So the game starts in 49 BCE. It's a time of transition, so the line of pharaohs are mostly dying. So the last pharaohs of Egypt are the Ptolemies, so they're the Greek rulers. They are Greek kings and Egyptian pharaohs at the same time, which is that weird situation where it creates a very interesting setting for us, where you have cities like Alexandria, which is a bit more Greek, and Memphis, which is a very, very ancient Egyptian city. But you also have a lot of different places like the Fayoum that you've played in the demo, which is a mix of Greek and Egyptians. And so it's a country that's in transition. Rome is not far away. It's looking at Egypt with their claws open, waiting for any sign of weakness to attack. But at that time, it's really about the rise of the reign of Cleopatra. This game is around Bayek, so it's the main character of this game. He's a Siwan, so he's from an oasis of Siwa, which is a very interesting place far away in the desert in ancient Egypt. His main role is to be a Magi. So Magi's in ancient Egypt were an ancient populace, an ancient military populace that was integrated through millennia in the population itself. And the term Magi became the term for police officers. The translation is protector, actually, for Magi. And so Bayek is one of the last of them because the Greek rulers have a new system, which are the Phylakitai. So they have a new police force. And so the Magi's are disappearing. The old ways of Egypt are disappearing. So it creates this opportunity for Bayek to have his own story, his own situations in ancient Egypt, and then it leads you to the creation of the Brotherhood.
Are we gonna see the Templars as well in Egypt?
Templars didn't travel back in time. With the terms of Templars, it was very something that was about the first and third Crusades. But the concept of chaos and the concept of order is something that's much older than that. And this is where we can play with what would be proto-Templars. The first game that we had was with Altair, and he was one of the very important member of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Obviously, the name Assassin was an Arabic name. From that moment, they were a sect. But as I mentioned a bit before, the concept of order and chaos is something that's much older. And so in the lore of Assassin's Creed, there are assassins that are known from much before, even the time of Cleopatra's Egypt. And so Bayek's story is really about the creation of the Brotherhood itself, but there were assassins before, there will be assassins after. So it's not a contradiction. However, we know that there are many things in our universe, and they are not always connected directly, but in their whole they make a lot of sense because it's always linked to that idea of order versus chaos. The way we wanted to treat the game is really about getting inspired by history, being truthful with the facts, with the landmarks, with what people are doing in a daily business, but also to play with mysticism. For us, it was the perfect moment to do this, to play with their religious beliefs, to play with the presence of gods, because people back then believed in that. They believed that the pharaoh was a god, and so magic, spells, all of these things were intertwined with their daily life, and we really want to play with that and offer good opportunities for the players. We wanted to play with some of the facts from the era, from the same way we played possibly with Assassin's Creed 3 with the spiritual quest, if I can make that comparison. So really to create these gameplay opportunities for the players to have fun with mythology.
So in the previous Assassin's Creed games, there was this entity, Juno, going on. Is she an ancient goddess, or is she creator of something in Egypt?
So the precursor race is something that's much further back in time than ancient Egypt. So it's the kind of legacy that we can play with. At this time, we're not going to discuss this already, but because the game is going to be released at some point, we really want to give a lot of surprises to our fans, and it's the same with the storyline also. If you took me back in 2012 when we were releasing Assassin's Creed 3, I was already saying like I want to do ancient Egypt, even way before I knew I was actually going to do it. And it's the same for a lot of people on the team because it's so strong with fantasy, it's so strong with mysticism, with these huge landmarks that even today we're not sure how they were built. It gives us a lot of opportunity to create this amazing game, this fantastic new episode in the franchise, and fans have been wanting it for a long time too. So we've been listening to that also. We tried to recreate a whole country this time around, which is a bit crazy because you can go from the deserts down south to the west and the black deserts, the white deserts. You can go into the mountains and then come back to what is the most surprising part of ancient Egypt is the Nile region. So you can go all the way on the Nile River from north to south, mostly around the delta of the Nile and then the Fayum region. And so you have a lot of diversity there. That's where everything grew, and that's what made ancient Egypt so rich, also, and so attractive for invaders like the Greeks, who invaded Egypt 300 years before the start of the game. And so it's a huge set. It created us opportunities to have navigation. So you have boats, you have horses, camels, really a lot of different means that you can walk around, discover this country, discover opportunities for fun, or you can use Senu, your eagle, also to see from the sky. It's beautiful, it's amazing. That's one part that I really like in this game. But you can also define what is going to be your way around. So you can evaluate situations, see if, for instance, bosses or enemies are a higher level than you are. And so you can define what is the best path for you. It's from the start we knew that we wanted to do a new RPG-like action adventure game. So we wanted to keep what was very interesting from the franchise, or things that we did in the past, like riding the horse. That was natural for a big country like Egypt. And then we wanted to move to a more RPG-like system because we wanted to give meaning to the fight system. We wanted to give meaning to the quest system, which is very different and not linear anymore. You define in which order you want to do the quest, what kind of people you want to help or not. It's up to the player to decide, and this is really freedom that we wanted to give for the player with this huge environment with a lot of quests to do, but also to have a system behind that's helping, like the new fighting system, the new navigation system, where you can go from mountains to under the water to caves, go around everywhere and very more fluidly than ever before. The weapons in Assassin's Creed Origins were part of something that we knew from the start that we wanted to create and be very serious about, because we changed the whole fighting system. They have a lot of meaning. So having short weapons, long weapons, all of them are inspired by history. So we dragged into 3,000 years of history, going from Egypt to China to Northern Europe, really to get real weapons, inspiration from real weapons, most of them. So there's about 160 weapons that you have in the game: bows, spears, maces. Some of them are very more fantastic. They're more what we wanted to have just for fun in this game to create gameplay opportunities. But deep inside, it's a new fighting system, and so when you play, it's not much about animations anymore. It's really about a hitbox system. So if you're 10 meters away from your enemy, maybe you'll use your bow and you can transition quickly to a melee weapon. If your enemy approaches, they're not waiting in line for you to slaughter them. Your enemies will find solutions. One maybe will use a bow against you, the other one will attack you, and so you have all of these weapons that you can use and to defend yourself, to attack, to be brutal, and to define what kind of character you are. And so this is really linked to the ability system in behind also. And so you can choose either to become maybe more a master fighter or maybe a master hunter, so being more about precision. So you have these bows where you can actually like be more precise. Some of them it's more about shooting multiple arrows at the same time. All of the weapons have a meaningness, so they have rarity levels. They go from medium to very rare, and all of them have special abilities. And so they have levels too, and it's linked to your level as a player. So because you cannot tackle everything easily, you have to define what's the best strategy for you.
So we'll be able to customize my eagle as well.
We won't be able to customize Senu, I believe. I think she's part of the ability tree system, so you can actually you can unlock skills for Senu, and so it's really gonna help you in your quest, in your fighting. But it's more about customization of Bayek himself, and so you'll see a lot of customization available. You'll see some legacy outfits available at some point too.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
They are the first to call themselves the Assassins.